And I was chatting to him one day at Con Hill and saying to him, what do you want from someone like myself? I'm 60 years old. I'm a white male. Okay. I wasn't in the struggle. Okay. What do you want from someone like me? Do you want me to leave this country? Should I go? Okay. Or should I stay and make an impact here?
That conversation that you had, because you always say to us, the Constitution is just a piece of paper.
Yeah.
On its own, it cannot do anything.
Yeah.
I think you always thought about Jozi or Johannesburg as an inner city, as a place that needed some level of reimagining. Because as you always said that the reason why you are staying here is because you want your grandchildren to stay here. Maybe you said you're very clear. You were answering the question. I'm very clear as to what I want to spend my life on.
And we haven't seen each other for a while. And the last couple of weeks have been quite interesting weeks for me. So it's good to have a catch up as well. So,
yes.
This will be the catch up.
We will use this and we will have it recorded as well.
Yeah, definitely. So, I think for me, the vision really, and I want to say it in this forum as well, because Gibbs has been an incredible partner to me, Rabbi Pogren, who runs the business ethics department of Gibbs. He's the most kind of fair and the most, also the most curious guy, and he's open to all suggestions. So this journey actually started with me at Wits University, because I actually met with a guy called Klebo Dlamini, the guy that actually started Fees Must Fall at Wits. And I was chatting to him one day at Con Hill and saying to him, what do you want from someone like myself? I'm 60 years old. I'm a white male. Okay. I wasn't in the struggle. Okay. What do you want from someone like me? Do you want me to leave this country? Should I go? Okay. Or should I stay and make an impact here? I've built a business. It's at a point in time where the business can grow without me. It doesn't really need my skill. What do you want? Okay. If I look at our Constitution, and I'm a huge Constitutionalist, I believe that our Constitution, from the struggle, emerged a Constitution. And that Constitution, how many people have read the Constitution here? Okay? So it's not a bad amount, but probably, let's say 50% haven't read the preamble to the Constitution, which was really the gift that the struggle gave us. And through that gift that the struggle gave us, we don't, as South Africans, haven't grabbed the pearls that have actually been given. And so I'm a big believer that our Constitution, certainly there's certain layers of the Constitution, and one of them is we're united in our diversity. You actually want me here as a Jewish white male from Lithuanian extraction in South Africa, working with, different people from around the world, actually, and from different nationalities and different ethnicities. Because together, we're going to make this place great. We're not going to do this as individuals. And yes, it is individuals that change the world. So when I sat and challenged Klebo on this, he said, no, you have to stay and we've got to fix this country. And so I said, well, how do we fix? Where do we start? Me as an individual, I'm tired of giving sandwiches out on the road and little apples. And, how can we make massive change in this country? And he said, do it through Wits University. Now, I was a graduate of Wits, and that's what I say. I'm sensitive to saying it here in Gibbs, but Gibbs and Wits have become extreme good partners actually on this. And I'd never been back to Wits. I'm a graduate of Wits, never been back to Wits for 30 years, other than my kids' graduation. And I drove home that night, and I thought to myself, that's a very interesting kind of theory, that if you work together with Wits to actually fix whatever the challenges are, what an incredible partner. Because Wits also need to lift their game as well. Wits were also feeling a little bit down and a little bit trampled on. And you had Gibbs that was really emerging strongly. And Wits somehow hadn't found their mojo. And so I reached out to the Vice Chancellor, Professor Zebulon Vilakazi, who is an incredible vision. I also fell in love with him. So I've fallen in love with a lot of people lately.
Yeah.
I fell in love with Zeb, and I said to him, let's work together. Because if I have to go and work with Wits, this big institution, and then I say, well, I have to have certain agreements, and then I've got to get approval from all the kind of stuff. It's not going to work. Let's just work. And he said to me, he gave me a quote from the Blues Brothers. I'm 500 miles from Chicago. It's dark. I'm wearing sunglasses. I've got my Chesterfields on the windscreen. Hit it. Okay, let's just go. And I took in that energy, and I thought, let's do it. Okay, and that was the real kind of beginning of all the journey. And that's when I got to meet Rose, and that's when we started doing some stuff. And then Wits then recognized the work that we were doing at Baragwanath, because the work we're doing at Baragwanath is absolutely stunning, but it's a separate discussion.
It is a separate.
And the work that the Wits then recognized some of the work that they did, and they asked me to join the Wits Business School board. Now, I'd never been on a Wits Business, I'd never been to Wits Business School, never been to a Wits Business School board. It was like, what am I doing in this business school? You know, I mean, I've been to Gibbs, I speak a lot at Gibbs, but never been to Wits, and certainly never as part of like a formal structure. And at that meeting, the discussion came about, for Wits, Anglo-American had moved out of 44 Main Street and had moved to Rosebank, and they wanted Wits to take a location at 47 Main, across the road from there. And should they do that? And the kind of conclusion was that Anglo are looking to move out of the city for Wits to move in, and for them to actually let Wits then clean the inner city of Joburg.
I want to stop you there, because this is an important conversation that you have, because you're going to tell the story about Anglo wanting to move out and some of the choices you made as Nando's in that conversation that you had. Because you always say to us, the Constitution is just a piece of paper.
Yeah.
On its own, it cannot do anything.
Yeah. I mean, I think the struggle was really about, you know, at the end of the day, the struggle could have gone two ways. And it went the way of Madiba, and it went the way of rationality, and it went the way of the broadest negotiation. There were 490 people that were part of the constitutional creating process that represented millions and millions of South Africans. It was the broadest negotiated document actually of all time. Okay, it's not very dissimilar to the American Constitution, and also very different to the rhetoric that people are saying that the Constitution was negotiated in a smoke-filled room and people twisted Madiba's arm. Nothing further from the truth than that. Okay, the problem is that is a document. Okay, and a document can't be implemented without people. And so, if you follow a young designer by the name of Tsepo's just launched a range of T-shirts called We the People T-shirts, because it's about we the people, okay? And that's why it's the most powerful thing. And I'll tell it to you in the context of my life, okay? Because in 94, you know, Madiba was released earlier than 94, but when our first election happened in 94, we just all sat back. I was busy building Nando's. We're building the business. Heads were down, entrepreneurially, looking at campaigns. We've always behaved in a very constitutional way. Even before 1990, we always wanted to create a business that was for everybody. It was a business that was inclusive. It was a business that we felt wanted to reflect what we felt in our hearts for the future of South Africa. We were all in the glow of Madiba, and you guys are too young to actually to have recognized what that glow was. We all had a glow where we all sat back. It was the Rainbow Nation. It was a beautiful time. Money was coming back into South Africa. Investment. There was a rising tide. It lifted all boats. Okay? And so we just sat back and did nothing and just benefited from this kind of rising tide. But people expected the Constitution, and myself, up to about 8 years ago, because now I'm a trustee at the Constitutional Hill Trust. And our role is to promote and expand the Constitution out to the people of South Africa. Because the view is that a document can't come alive on its own. Okay, a document has to be implemented by the people, okay, whoever the people are. Okay, and that's why I'm so excited about where we are right now. And I'm jumping a little bit to the future. But never before has there been more opportunity in South Africa than right now for people like yourselves, okay, that are going to relive that Madiba moment, okay, because we've got a government of national unity, which in a way is a miracle, okay, and it's opening up, whether you're ANC, whether you're EFF, whether you're PA, DA, forget what your politics are. You're now a part of a government of national unity, the same way that it was. It's we, the people, that have got to get stuck in to do this stuff, not wait for government to do it. Government can never, ever, ever implement anything on their own. We must understand that. We thought in my day, government are going to go and do this all because their hearts are in the right place. There's a social contract that they've got with the people. Never, ever, ever. It will never happen. In no country in the world does government operate on their own. I don't understand. I don't see it. But I see an opportunity now for the people to get stuck in. And through what we do, which is what we've done at Barra and what Josie My Josie is, through the lens of the Constitution, because the Constitution must be your framework for the way you live your life. Because at the heart of our Constitution is humanity, humility, and love for people. At the heart of that Constitution is the stuff, is Neil, what you were talking about earlier. At the heart of everything you spoke about is our Constitution.
Yeah.
And that's what we as South Africans have as our special DNA that no other country has, having gone through the struggle, having left us with a blueprint that we've ignored for 30 years. Now is the generation to take that blueprint and implement it according to that roadmap.
With dignity.
With human dignity at the center of everything that we do. Even the language is defined in that Constitution. And the verbs are there to do.
So what did you say to Anglo when you heard that they want to move out, hand over to Wits and move to Rosebank?
So actually it was another guy at the forum that actually said, no, Anglo have to fix the city of Joburg. So I took energy from that individual and I said, well, Nando's, our headquarters are in a place called Lawrenceville, which is in Bertram's. And we had an opportunity to close that down because that was our original factory. And we moved that factory to Midrand. So we had an opportunity to actually move out and move to Rosebank or move to Sandton or move to like the leafy suburbs. Bertram's is not, and Troyville is not a leafy suburb, okay? By any stretch of the imagination, it is a developmental suburb, okay? And so we decided but I just felt that the Nando's brand was so entwined and embedded in the street that a minute we moved out of there and we moved to Sandton, we'd just become another brand on another door, and it would be like we would lose our soul. And our soul of the brand is deeply embedded in the communities that we operate in. I said, we are staying where we're staying. And as a result of us staying where we stayed, another development was built next to us called Victoria Yards, which is all around community and sustainability and young entrepreneurship and building the best young entrepreneurs in the world. So again, coming back to the Constitution, one of the other things...
I want to know, I just want to do this because we're not going to go back there. How many restaurants do you have in the world now?
We've got 1,200.
1,200 restaurants across the world.
In 23 countries.
But they represent our region. They are southern. And actually, Robbie calls them cultural hubs of South Africa. Because you could actually go to a Nando's, Southern Africa. We've got a Mozambican here, so I don't want to just say...
Don't get me distracted now.
Southern Africa. That you actually are using your brand to represent Southern Africa, our art, our furniture, plus your chicken. It might as well be consulates.
Yeah, you see, the thing is, again, I mean, there's a lot we can chat about, but the essence of, for me, the essence of change has got to come from the inside out. Okay, change has got to come from the inside out. Change can't come from the outside in. So change has got to come from. There's no point in when people talk about social development or they talk about CSI and Nedbank do this really well, by the way, where if you embed it into your actual brand and you embed it into what you do, it doesn't feel like you're doing CSI. So nothing worse than having a check written and you write a check to something and then every year you got to rewrite the check plus 10%. Okay, and it doesn't feel like you're really having an impact on the people. What we've done at Nando's, and I didn't do it, I just helped implement it as the CEO at the time, was our art project, our design project. We're going to now be doing music, and we've included Mozambique into all of this that we're doing. Where in our art project, just as an example, we use art around the world. All our restaurants around the world use Southern African art on the walls. And so, and we have a curator that curates that collection. We call her the One Eye. And we have another curator that does all our light fittings and all our kind of stunning pieces in all our restaurants. And I was in Australia last week with Tabiso and Joe. Tabiso was our very first winner of the Nando's Young Hot Designer competition. She developed a range of or they called the tutu, the ballerina lights.
Yeah, those lanterns.
And she was telling me, I had dinner with her in Melbourne last Saturday night. She told me she's just now done a collaboration with Dolce & Gabbana in Milan. Okay? How is
Imagine that.
Okay? Now, she joined as a young designer and now collaborating with Dolce & Gabbana. It makes my heart like soar, okay? Because the potential is endless, okay? Back to the Constitution, we need to take our rightful place in the world of nations. We've lost our rightful place in the world of nations as South Africans, because what's happened in the last 10 years, it's been corruption. We've lost our dignity. When you think of the people that were running the business, that didn't look after the social services of this country, never looked after the people, okay, didn't care for the people. And so we lost our kind of North Star. Madiba was that where we gained that kind of respect in the world. And then all of a sudden, through ourselves and through Wits, this Gibbs never really lost it, I think. Wits to a certain extent lost it, and they're starting to regain it. Where you take your place in the world of South Africans, but from South Africa to the world, not expats that have emigrated, okay, and are doing brilliant work around the world, but from here. Okay, we need to bring the world back to South Africa. And what I'm saying is that Africa, now's your time.
Yes.
10, 12 years ago, and I spoke to Tabiso about this. I said, 10 or 12 years ago, we all said, World Cup soccer, South Africa, it's our time. You have to have gone through a bit of pain. You have to walk a sand road to understand what a tar road is.
Yes.
Okay? You have to understand that. And as South Africans, we are ready now.
So back to Anglo.
Yeah. Back to Anglo. So I then say to Anglo, come and have a look at Victoria Yards, come and have a look at Nando's, and see what we've done within the community of Lawrenceville and Bertram's to make an impact from the inside out with no government help and very, very small budget. Big budget on the Nando's side to do what we did at Nando's. But our agenda at Nando's was to build the designers into a world-class. So if you go look at the Nando's headquarters, it's world-class design. It's the most unexpected jewel in this country, in the city, because it's world-class design, world-class art. But Victoria Yards is equally, probably even more important, because it's done it with community, but also with world-class designers like Tsepo, like James Delaney, a couple of other designers that have really, with no help from anyone, have built themselves up into a global icon. Victoria Yards, I think, is number 4 on TripAdvisor in the world or something. It's like ridiculous. So I take Anglo there. Okay. Now, I've never worked with Anglo in my life. Okay. To me, Anglo is this like huge house on the hill. You know what I mean? I've never, ever been there. And so I take them on a tour and I show them what we're doing. And I say to them, I'm going to give you an undertaking. Okay. There's a movie called Fiddler on the Roof. Okay. And it talks about, if you're rich, in that movie, it talks about rich people. Everybody thinks rich people know everything about everything. Okay. There's nothing further from the truth about that. Okay. Rich people actually know nothing. Rich people sometimes hire people to help them with their thinking, but often rich people don't know everything. And I said, what we need to do with Anglo there is, because Anglo is everyone's going to say Anglo are doing it, you're going to have to throw money at this problem. Money can't sort this problem out. Okay. You got to understand that it's going to be sorted out by the invisible becoming visible, because the visible are invisible. And what I meant is that the people that are actually in the city of Joburg, that are doing the most incredible work in the inner city, are the invisible. The people that are working with the homeless are the church groups. So I said to Anglo, because they said, we don't have enough money to fix the city. I said, you don't need money. All you need is a rich person to say, we are staying. And everyone's going to think you know something we don't know, so we're also going to stay. Okay? Because rich people, if you're staying, then I'm staying.
Must be.
Okay?
Yes.
So I said, but if the rich person says we're leaving, everybody wants to leave. Hey, where are you going? I want to stay with you. No, you're going there. I'm going with you. So I said, you need to say you are staying. But you have to commit to staying. You can't just say you're staying and then you're not really staying. Okay, so go away, think about it, and then come back and say if you're staying. And so they went away, and they phoned me up and said, we've got an answer for you. So I took my son, I took my lighty with me, who's 30. He's not such a lighty, but he's 30. And I thought I was going to see the headmaster's office. And my son was like, He was one of the developers of Vic Yard. So I took him with me. We met with not the chairman of Anglo, but his office. And they said, you know what? We're going to be your partners. And Anglo have been the most committed, the most incredible partners. I cannot tell you. The people that I'm dealing with in my own mind, okay, and my reality, because I've really worked with them, are the most un-Anglo people. Because I had a perception in my mind that Anglo people were like this. The people that I've met, I've been beyond. And it's, again, part of what I just heard very briefly coming in here. Perceptions are so dangerous. Okay, because the reality is when you meet the person, and the most powerful person to meet are people that are more unlike you. Don't meet people that are like you. Okay, I don't want to meet people that are like me anymore. I'm tired of meeting those people. You're never going to fix Joburg. I heard it yesterday. Somebody came to me and said to me, you're never going to fix Joburg. I said, well, then you know what? You emigrate and go fix London. I said, go fix New York. Okay? One thing we do know, and one thing we know is what's broken. We know we're broken. The first thing is to get the reality. You know you're broken. Now, how do you fix it? So the first action we did was we said you need great plek.
Great plek, yeah.
Great plek. You have
Things
to have
to hold
great plek.
on to.
Something to hold on to. Without something to hold on to, you've got nothing. And great plek for me, Shari, being a marketer, is a brand. Okay, you need something that people can identify with. So I went to a mate of mine and I said to him, find me the best young creative in the world.
So this is his other skill. Now he plays music for you and you say, I am coming. He finds the non-heroes, the ordinary, extraordinary people. So now you're going to tell the story of finding this extraordinary.
So I got hold of my mate that runs one of the biggest agencies in South Africa, FCB agency. And I said to him, find me the best young creative. And he said to me, there's only one oak. His name is Malu Simplungu. Okay, Malu is living at the moment in New York. Okay, Malu was a young guy born in Soweto, was going to become a lawyer, brought up by his grandmother and his mother, and he was going to become a lawyer. And he just loved advertising. And he saw an advert for Vegas School of Advertising, and he went in to apply, and he got a scholarship. It's a long story, so I'm going to really shorten it. He got a scholarship. He then became the best young creative in South Africa. He worked for FCB, became the best young creative in South Africa, got headhunted by an agency in Miami, arrived in Miami, and the first week he wrote the script for a Super Bowl commercial for Budweiser beer called Typical Americans. Okay, he then wrote a second commercial for Burger King. He then got headhunted to Chicago to run the COVID response for Chicago with an agency. Then came to live in New York and worked for Adidas and Instagram and a couple of others.
And for all of these, he won prizes.
He won the best young American under 30, best young creative in America, representing America in Cannes in France as a Soweto boy. Wow. Okay, so they said to him, where are you from? He says, America. and I said to him, Malu, you've got to come home. Where in your life are you going to get a chance to reimagine and rebrand the city that you love, the city of birth, being inspired by living in New York and that I Love New York campaign? And so he came back and he created...
It was South Africa or Puff Daddy?
It was, South Africa or Puff Daddy. He had a choice. He was being offered Puff Daddy to come and manage Puff Daddy's campaign or his life and South Africa. And he said, and so he said he wants to come back. And so he came back and created, with Anglo, he created Josie, My Josie, because he wrote that as an ode to the city he loves. He sat down and he wrote an ode to the city he loved. Oh, Josie, my Josie. And he spoke about his heartbreak of the city. And then he said, I'm going to help you fix it. And part of it, I don't know if you've got the movie, but you can probably
I'm going to send it to them later.
His little interstitial that he created. And that has been the essence of, and the kind of the essence of Josie My Josie. How do you rebuild a city that people love but feels unloved? A, by government, A, by the municipality. We've had 4 mayors in 2 years. There's a rotating door of mayors. Okay, how do you do that? And so the core partners have been Wits University, because again we're doing this through the throat of Wits, and Anglo. And then we've got Standard Bank, we've got Nedbank, we've got a couple of the big banks. Nando's are playing a small part of it, and Gibbs are playing a part of it. UJ are playing a part of it, and so it's it's for me the most daunting, most difficult, the most impossible task ever achieved. But it's the most inspiring, the most energizing. I've never felt more energized to tackle something like this. It is such fun.
Why do you do it though? Because you always, in the 4 years that we've worked together, and we've tackled some of the most impossible things, as you said, and then we sit and we say, this is going to take 40 years, and we might not be around, but let's keep doing it anyway.
You had the thing. I don't know what you got on you now, but you had the thing. We have to create the future we want to see. You can't sit back and then say it's going to happen automatically. Particularly this generation have got the ability. So what I'm doing is I want my grandchildren to go to Wits University. Okay, I think Wits is one of the best.
And then they come to business school.
And then come to business school. Yeah. Now, I'm saying that if you look at it today, okay, a lot of the times, and I'm talking about some of my mates, they want to send their kids off to a global university for education. So they send them to Exeter, or so they can't get into, let's say, Harvard or Oxford. And there's a select few that can go to whether they're good or bad, I don't even know. But, I'm not even taking a view on that, but I'm just saying people want to get a university degree. I'm saying that Wits is, and UCT and our local universities are as good as any university in the world. And the kind of learning that they're going to get from people is from people that are more unlike them. So in other words, it's this kind of diversity that you're going to be getting at a university. It's one of the best universities in the world. And so why should we always look to go outside of South Africa to get the best in the world? We need to start having belief in ourselves that we can create the best in the world. Nando's was created from Rosettenville, from Lawrenceville, to compete with the best in the world, not with any excuse. You can't have that as an excuse. You've got to create the best in the world. So how did we do that? We did that with great young people around the world, but also inspired by Southern African art, Southern African design, Southern African chilies from Mozambique, Malawi, Zimbabwe. You do it with the best of South Africa. We took a view. We're going to take what is South Africa the best in? Creative thinking differently. Madiba's thinking was radical. When Madiba came out of jail, and in '94 when he formed the cabinet, who did he put in as his public assistant, his PA? Was Zelda Lagrange. She was a right-wing white Afrikaans woman who was like 25 years old, dealing with the princes and presidents around the world. I mean, who would hire a 25-year-old to manage that, or under 30, let's say, to hire that? Okay, and so that magic of reaching out of your comfort zone, of reaching out to go bring people that are not like you to join this journey with you to create is part of our constitution. It's that united in diversity that talks to it. That's why I'm so passionate about it. And then building a world class. From here, we can build a world class that you don't have to go chasing outside. Because to me, family is the most important thing.
And as South Africans, we're all family.
As South Africans, we're all family.
So I did an exercise with a team where I asked them to think about writing a letter to someone that that person will only open it in 80 years' time.
In 80 years?
In 80 years' time. And the reason why I asked you the question about why do you do it, yes, you do it for your grandchildren. But many of the things that we tackle, we're never going to see the results of it because it takes such a long time for transformation to happen. And yet we still do it. And I remember a conversation that we had where you said, but isn't it amazing to be part of a project where you might never see the outcome, but that tree that you planted, others will sit under that shade?
Yeah. I mean, I remember that very clearly. That to me is the most important thing. If you can be doing things that other people are getting the benefit of, what I'm finding is how much benefit I'm getting now through purpose, through energy. I mean, I am more energized now. My mates can't believe me. They're like, what?
What are you smoking?
What are you smoking? What are you taking? Why are you so energetic? Why are you running there? I can't do enough. I can't see enough. I mean, there's like so much stuff coming at me that I haven't got time to sleep. My head, I'm also one of those that don't sleep, because there's just too much opportunity.
So I want to talk about that quickly because we need to respect your time, because you said, you always go around, you're at Harvard and you're at Oxford, and they call you because you are an entrepreneur. But in fact, you actually are a humanitarian. Did you discover humanitarianism now?
I discovered my purpose. Okay, because when you build a business, and you can build a business, and of course it's important. Money is important. It's very easy to say money is not important. Okay, but once you've got to a certain level in life, another asset is, and particularly in today's world, you want to be more asset light. More valuable to me right now is experiences more than another asset. I mean, the car that I drive. I don't want to drive a fancy car. I don't want to, to me, you can live in a fancy hotel. If your head's not clear and you're sitting in a fancy hotel, you're just not enjoying yourself. I've had more fun in camping with a clear head than I have sometimes. I was in Australia now, they organized me a suite. I'm sitting in the suite and you get a call from South Africa about some issue. My mom wasn't well. Yeah. That suite could have been in a dormitory. It didn't matter where I was because I saw nothing other than dealing with what I had to deal with. And so to me, at a point in time where I gave over the running of the business, because I also think that in developing as an entrepreneur, there's a point you've got to step away from the business. There's a thing that I call it, which I learned from someone else. It's the power of giving power away. Okay? There is so much power in giving power away. A lot of people are scared of giving power because they think it's going to take power away from them. It's like a candle light. If you light another person's candle, you're not diminishing your own light. You're actually extending that light. So to me, I gave Nando's away 13 years ago. And in giving that away 13 years ago, I went through a minor depression because I was giving my baby over to someone that maybe wasn't looking after the way that I thought. But I had to rediscover myself in that process. And you were right, I was playing golf. It was the most soulless, personally destroying time. Because ultimately, you realize that getting your handicap down is not what's going to define you. What's going to define you is the shade that's been built, your legacy. My legacy is going to be the shade in 80 years' time. Even if it's not for me, it's for myself. And that I'm building that shade for 8 years. It feels like I've got a mission and I haven't got much time to develop that mission. Because I'm not going to be around in 80 years' time, but I've got realistically 15 years really to develop that mission.
I remember Imtiaz Suleiman, one of the people that you also have fallen in love with.
I love what he does.
Yes, said that everything you do is not done by you, but done through you.
Yeah, that's for me. I feel like I can't even tell you, when we talk about things are controlled by God and the hand of God, what we've done along this journey, people have joined and people have left. Okay, and the people that have joined and have stayed, okay, and then multiplied and amplified the messaging. It's even on Friday. I had a meeting on Friday. We were a bit down on something. We're busy fixing Ellis Park, so we're fixing the Ellis Park lights, and we're getting no help from government. We're getting no help from anybody, and we have to do it ourselves. So we have to fix it before the rugby. And it was like one of those where we just haven't got.
Yeah.
And the next thing on Friday, I have a meeting, and the whole thing came together. It was like, where did you come from, bro? Like this, okay, just suddenly arrived at my doorstep, and he's got the whole solution for the plan. And it's like somehow. You can't look at problems as being unsurmountable. You got to look at the future. And even if we take what we're doing at Barra, the solutions that we're finding now the tech wasn't even developed when we knew we had a problem. So the solutions, 5 years ago, there was probably no solution. Today, it's all a tech solution.
Yes.
And that tech is so well developed now, and it's going to get better and better. So never shy away from a problem. The minute you get into it, you don't have to have all the answers. In fact, the less answers you have, the better it is.
The more questions you have.
The more questions you have.
That's the way to go.
You can, and you must widen that out to people. That's why you got to be curious. And you got to say, well, let me go and explore there. Let me go and explore here. But I'll end off, okay, because I'm very clear. This is the best time to be a South African right now in the world.
Let's say Southern African.
Right, Southern African.
Yes.
Okay. But I tell you what, I'm a little bit upset. We as South Africans have to treat Mozambique right. We haven't treated Mozambique right. I looked at Continua. Mozambique was part of the struggle. Okay, and yet we've treated Mozambican people in South Africa with xenophobia and other things. You'll agree with me? Not right. Okay, so we have to, as South Africa, reach out to our neighbors as well. Okay, and that's what's a really, really interesting time. And that's why we've got to take our place in the world. And And so as a Southern African, you're right, as a South African and then a Southern African, I don't think, and the world around us, the kind of macro, whatever the kind of geopolitical, the world is all over the place. We have the DNA. We have our constitution. We can just unfold it. Do it through the lens of that constitution. We're doing Josie My Josie through the lens of our constitution. It is magnificent. It's like it's like I'm watching an opera. I'm watching this thing come together like you have never seen before. We're going to tackle the homeless. We're going to tackle in a way that's just delicate and beautiful with humanity at the core of our.
Even the taxi association is part of the solution.
Everybody.
Wonderful.
It's just, you got to do it with a sense of humanity, with human dignity at the center of everything that you do. So what we're doing, for example, to fix the city of Joburg, and I'll finish on this, with security, you've got two ways. The shambok, okay, or you can speak nicely. Okay, so maybe you got to use a little bit of shambok, but then you got to speak nicely. And we met with the taxi association, and they said, you know what? We like your language better. The language of the Constitution is the language that we should be using. And they're starting to slowly understand the language of the Constitution. And what I'm hoping that what we can achieve, and it's going to happen over the next 30, 40 years, but hoping what we can achieve in the short term is how we can prove how our Constitution is not a just piece of paper, but actually we the people can implement on its behalf. And don't have to take only big ideas. It can be the way you treat your kids, the way you've lived your life. I can promise you, Neil, is through the constitutional values. There's nothing there that grinds. If you read the preamble, there's nothing that would have grinded in the way you've raised your kids and your family. Now you're at a point where you want to find the next layer of purpose. It's time for you to get stuck into the country and fix the country. Because in fixing the country, we're going to show the world what it truly means to have human dignity at the center. Because the whole world right now needs a good dose of human dignity.
And we will take our rightful place as a sovereign nation.
In the family.
Yeah, in the family.
And that's how
we're
going to take it back.
Okay. On that note, we do have to.
Yeah, I've got to go.
Yeah, I've got to go and watch the soccer.